Hello everyone, please press subscribe, press follow, press the bell so you don't miss any new clips. Adorable treasured fox divine doctor mother overturning the heavens. Author by Co Chi Yi. Audio novels by Novelist. Chapter 151, Sudden Tenderness 2. Little princess, I feel like they are more like flirting there. One of the girl's entourage shakily states his mind. Turning around to glare at the person, Chu Yi grumpily rebukes the claim. Have you ever seen someone say they will lop off your hands when flirting? Don't forget, all of you are part of the Holy Land. If you are going to support someone, it has to be my brother. I don't care, go prepare the paper and inks for me. I'm going to write a letter to my brother and warn him. Although Bai Yan had warned her not to divulge the situation to anyone, but things are getting too serious. But the young lord is currently in closed-door training, one of the guards timidly reminded the girl. Annoyed by the constant irritation, Chu Yi directly sends a slap onto the unlucky guy's head. Xuanhuan has been discovered and my future sister-in-law is about to be stolen. What the heck is he still training for? Scared to the point of not daring to talk back, the guards knew the girl cannot be stopped once she's decided on something. Unfortunately, they seems to have forgotten one crucial fact. Unless the man in question decides to come out of his own volition, the letter won't be able to reach him. Considering Chu Yi's IQ, there's no way the girl would think of this flaw in her plan. As such, when Chi Fengyi finally got the chance to read the message, things were already too late. Ellipsis. In the backyard where the fake mountain stood, Bai Yan was currently having a tough time dealing with a certain persistent man that just won't go away. I've already allowed Xuanhuan to admit your status as his father, why do you keep coming to find me? Smickering a laugh, Daikang sounded very devious in the way he talked. You raped me, for that, our relationship will forever be tied together in this life. Steaming to the point where she didn't know how to reply, Bai Yan could only take it because it's as the man said. Back then it was she who raped him. Bai Yan, our son can only have me as his father, and you can only have me as your man. Closing in, Daikang overbearingly pinches that delicate chin so it can't escape. I already promised you that I won't take our son away. For that, you must become my wife. Also, the part about having one partner for a lifetime, I can give you that too. One partner for a lifetime, I can give you that too. Despite shaking in her fingers, Bai Yan's expression didn't change in the least, like the proud statement didn't affect her. Seeing this, Daikang loosened his hand and said, it's fine if you don't accept me now, I can give you time. However, until then, I will continue to make you pay for your debt. Raising her head, Bai Yan was just about to say something again when the man's lip came pressing down without her permission. Then in order to not let her escape, Daikang's arms quickly wrapped itself around her waist and back, forcing those sizable mounds to meet his body. The kiss was very long and deep, so long that Bai Yan had to forcefully bite the tongue before it would relent. My dear Yan Yan, your lips are magical, you know that. I'm truly entranced by them that I can't even hold back anymore. Scram. Livid with anger, Bai Yan shouts this aloud. Did the man come here just to kiss me? Unlike his previous meetings, Daikang was surprisingly good this time. Using his fingers to comb through those long black hair, he then gently left a gentle kiss on her forehead. You still owe me 6 kisses. Be good and wait for me to collect the rest. Shuddering at the gesture, Bai Yan was pretty much accustomed to being forced at this point. But to be treated so gently, this was definitely a first for her. Just as she wanted to speak out again, Daikang's figure was already gone, leaving nothing behind but the cool breeze of the night. Chapter 152, Sudden Tenderness 3. By the time Bai Yan returned to the front yard, there were already 3 familiar figures waiting there. It was Lan Xiaoyun, Chu Yi and her son. Naturally, Bai Xuanhuan would be the first to notice her arrival. But just as the little steam bun wanted to call out, he was stopped by a gesture from Bai Yan. Yi, you just don't know how dastardly hateful that Bai Ji is. Not only does she often bully my cousin, she even dared to pretend to be Lord Kang's fiancé. Fortunately Lord Kang didn't like her and locked her away. Puffing in her cheeks, Lan Xiaoyun would still gnash her teeth in anger at the mention. Like her newfound acquaintance, Chu Yi also gnashed her teeth at the topic, but not at Bai Ji though. Rather it's at Dai Kang's enchanting face. I've met him before, that Lord Kang. He's indeed extremely handsome, but I don't like him. Why don't you like Lord Kang? Blinking her eyes, Lan Xiaoyun couldn't quite understand where the hate was coming from because there are too many girls eyeing Dai Kang in the kingdom. Puckering her mouth in discontent, Chu Yi explains, the guy is so bad and he wants to chop off Bai Yan's hands. But, in this world, only Lord Kang can match my cousin. Who said that? Although my older brother isn't as handsomely seductive as Lord Kang, but his character is many times better. Plus, Xie Can already promised me before that he will help my brother pursue Bai Yan. Jumping up urgently, Chu Yi turns to lift the little steam bun up in front of herself like a little puppy. Xie Can, you will help me right? Not answering immediately, he first looked at Chu Yi, then back at the woman behind her. My mother is right behind you, I think you should ask her yourself instead. Stiffening up at the statement, I was only joking, ha ha he. Raising a smirk, Bai Yan somehow became frightfully intimidating despite not trying to do so. So you're not going to be your brother's supporter anymore. Embarrassed by the fact that she's been pointed out, Chu Yi wittingly pulls the topic away with a puppy face and a quick embrace at Bai Yan's waist. Sister Yan, I know I'm wrong so please don't send me away. I promise I won't try to persuade you into marrying my brother. Not getting the reception like she wanted, Chu Yi's look became increasingly miserable. You are my one and only sister, please don't be so cruel. I really don't want to go back to the Holy Land. They only know how to restrict my freedom. And why do they limit your freedom? Isn't it because if they don't, you will turn the Holy Land upside down with your plays? Still unmoved in her expression, Bai Yan only asked this, you really know you're wrong? Elated by the question, Chu Yi hurriedly nods to show her determination. There won't be a second chance. Loosening her expression, Bai Yan remains indifferent still while the other party was overjoyed. Chu Yi just knew it, only pleading would work with her sister here. Likewise, Lan Xiaoyun also exhaled a sigh of relief because she also found the new girl to be very pleasant to hang around with. Xiaoyun, did you not say your big brother is going to the palace to carry out the punishment? Making a slightly evil chuckle, I also want to see this palace. Bring me along. Chapter 153, Dai Kang's Revenge 1. No. When she heard Chu Yi wishing to tag along, Bai Yan's face instantly went dark. You stay here, you can't go anywhere. With a confused look, Lan Xiaoyun girl cousin turns to the source. Cousin, my big brother will also enter the palace. Besides, it's not like we're going anywhere dangerous, only to carry out the punishment per your arrangement. I'm not afraid of her being in danger, I'm afraid of others being in danger. It's impossible for Chu Yi to be in danger, only others when in her presence. That's a fact, not a guess or assumption. Sister Yan, pitiful in her eyes, I promise I won't cause any trouble, so please. Suspicious in her look, Bai Yan carefully asked, would you light the entire palace on fire? Burn the entire palace. Twitching in the mouth, Lan Xiaoyun almost couldn't keep her laughter in. Isn't she being a bit exaggerated there? How could a single girl burn the entire palace? But unlike the young girl there, Bai Yan still hasn't forgotten about the last incident where her son and this Chu Yi teamed up together to burn her Shifa's entire treasure trove. Since then, Bai Yan had an explicitly forbade by Xie Can from colluding with her ever again. I swear to the heaven that I won't burn the whole palace down. Raising 3 of her fingers, Chu Yi didn't hesitate to make a vow. Good thing she did too because it worked. Xiaoyun, you take her then. Remember to watch over her though and keep her in your sight at all times. Finally loosening herself, Bai Yan relents in the end. Elated, Lan Xiaoyun confidently takes the helm. Don't worry cousin, I will definitely bring Yi back safely. With the assurance, Bai Yan can finally stop worrying so much and not say more. Giving herself a quick stretch, she then lazily marched towards the back again. Ellipsis. Meanwhile, back at the Bai house, a certain servant was carrying Bai Zhengxiang into the estate with much difficulty. Husband, husband, who turned you into this horrible state? Yu Rong exclaims with horror after seeing the sight and rushes over. Bai Yan. Unclear in his words, the man nevertheless manages to make out this name through it all. When hearing this, Yu Rong naturally became fuming. Bai Yan again. Why is that bitch always crossing our path? Quickly, go find an alchemist to see the housemaster. Not hesitating, Yu Rong first carried her husband into the bedroom before shouting this command out. It didn't take long after the servant left. When the old alchemist in which they called for arrives to see the terribly bruised-up man, even his already wrinkly forehead somehow manages to become even more tied up. Lord Bai's injury is very heavy. Even with a first or second grade healing pill won't do here. Master, please cure my husband. Yu Rong painfully bites her lip. Alchemists had always been arrogant and prideful in their demeanor. Even though she herself was the mistress of the Bai house, it means nothing for her dignity while in the presence of someone like this. Combing through his long white beard, the old man confidently spoke. It's not impossible to cure your husband here, but we need a third-grade healing pill for his injury. What? Third-grade pill? Her voice nearly came out as a shriek. It's been said before many times, Bai Zhengxiang achieved his current state thanks to Lan Yu's Bai Yan's mother dowry. Without a good business sense, plus everything has been squandered away over the years, the Bai house was pretty much an empty husk at this stage. Master Yu, the price of the medicine, a tad hesitant, Yu Rong nervously asked. Without changing, the old alchemist lays it out bluntly, 10 million, gold. This. The woman almost couldn't keep her posture there. Originally she wanted to bargain over the price, but out of consideration for the Bai name, she can only suck it up and agree. If it becomes known the Bai house can't even afford a single third-grade pill, they will surely be the laughing stock of the century. Chapter 154, Dai Kang's Revenge 2. In actual fact, the identifying factor in proving one's status depends entirely on their strength. When the land house's old lord was seriously ill, it left Bai Zhengxiang being the most powerful in the city, which allowed the Bai house to sit firmly on the top position as a first-class noble family. But in truth, the Bai house had always been nothing but an empty shell. Give him. It was at this moment the man himself weakly issued out this answer, give him the 10 million, but we need time to prepare. Very well, once you've finished preparing the gold then I will have the third-grade medicinal pill ready, the old alchemist smiles approvingly. Do remember this, anything weaker will have no effect on your recovery and only I can provide the medicine nearby. Tightly grasping onto the bed sheet, Bai Zhengxiang inhaled deeply before calming down. Someone come, see Master Yu out. Yes, your lordship. Making a respectful bow, the maid led the way for the old alchemist. With only the two of them left now, Bai Zhengxiang then ordered Yu Rong to close the door while deliberately lowering his voice. In the past I have never oppressed the various powers under me because I wanted to protect the Bai name, but there's no other way now. Go get 'em to gather the necessary funds for me. In this world, the reasoning why the strong holds such prestige was precisely for this reason, they can rob the weak. What's more, as slow as he was, Bai Zhengxiang had by now discovered his own inability to do business. As such, he can only take the underhanded method for convenience sake. All right, I will go prepare for it in a bit. Looking at her husband's swollen face, Yu Rong worriedly asks, Husband, you still haven't told me what happened today. As soon as the topic was mentioned again, Bai Zhengxiang's face turned cold. Of course it can only be that wretched daughter of mine. Bai Yan, she is actually Huoluo's flower brothel people. Afterwards, he then went ahead to describe the events that took place, all the while not forgetting to show off how much anger he had in his voice. Understanding the ins and outs now, a cruel light quickly flickered across Yu Rong's eye. How can a person like Huoluo use someone like Bai Yan? In my opinion, perhaps the reasoning for Bai Yan's disappearance in the past few years is due to the girl selling herself to the flower brothel and becoming a prostitute. Also, I have a strong suspicion that demon beast she gave the land house is also from this. The more she went on, the more sensible she found her story to be. Otherwise, how can a girl that's known to be weak and useless change so much? No, that's not it. The man shakes his head to refute the assumption. The lass beside Bayan has a lot of powerful guards and their strength is no weaker than a sky-class martialist like I. Moreover, for her to be able to enter and leave the old manor at will, it proves her status isn't ordinary. Sky-class level guards. Yurong shuddered at the thought because in the kingdom, only the royal family would have such strength to utilize such personnel. Furthermore, the following sentence from her husband only proved her idea even more. Also, I heard the guards calling the lass princess. Lowering her face like she's in deep contemplation, Yurong suddenly clenched her fist and turned sharp in the eyes. Husband, back when I was interacting with Lady Chu of the flower brothel, I learned from the woman that the most popular prostitute in their possession are also called princess to show off their superior status. If what you say is true, then everything makes sense. But, even if she is one, so what? A prostitute is still a prostitute. A lowly woman that can only sell her body will not change no matter what sort of title she's given. Gnashing her teeth, Yurong was filled with hate. Now she finally understands why Lady Chu would turn up so suddenly on that day. It's all pre-orchestrated. Punching the bedside, Bai Zhengxiang himself was also full of hatred now. How can Lanyu give birth to such a shameless daughter when she's so kind and gentle? Chapter 155, Daikang's Revenge 3. Yes, even if Bai Zhengxiang had Yurong already, even if he hates Bai Yan and disliked Bai Xiao, he still thinks of his first wife as the best. Such a gentle, beautiful, dumb and stupid woman, how can she not be the best? Husband, this time when your injury is healed, let us go find Bai Yan once again. We now control her secret. If we use it to threaten her, I'm confident she will cave into our demands. Nothing but a prostitute of the flower brothel, as if she's eligible to become the sovereign princess. When the time comes, all I have to do is use the secret and force her to yield. Then all will be well and Ji will take the main wife's position. This. Still feeling the stinging burn from the kick to his chest, Bai Zhengxiang was surprisingly calm this time. Let's talk about this when I get better first. Despite the cold reception to her idea, Yurong didn't notice it one bit. In her mind, silence was agreement, so a bright smile naturally formed on that grotesque face. Husband, I'll go right away to raise money for you. Don't worry, your injury will soon be healed. Having said this, Yurong then ordered a maid to see to her husband while she left the premise. Once outside though, things swiftly changed. Darkening in her expression, Yurong first scanned her surroundings for any sign of others. If you weren't the supporting pillar of this family, I would never use 10 million gold on your sorry excuse of a man. Just wait until I give birth to a son, then everything here will be mine. Slowly lowering her head at the thought, a disturbing smirk suddenly emerged from that mouth while she murmurs to herself, it should be about right according to mother's calculation. If I try during this period, then I will definitely get pregnant. Best part of all, mother found me such a handsome man for tonight. Unbeknownst to Yurong, everything that she said to herself just now had been caught by a certain shadow nearby. Ellipsis. At this time somewhere else in the Kang Manor, a certain guard was busy kneeling before his lord and master. Due to the oppressive pressure radiating off from above, the poor man almost couldn't breathe. That Bai Zhengxiang seems to be too free recently. Guess I need to find something for him to do. From Daikang's handsome face, a cold snickering sneer came out. Send my order out and let Bai Zhengxiang know that if he wants to save Bai Ji, he can do so by bringing Lanyu's dowry out. It's about time he returned the things. Yes, my lord, I will go to the Bai estate right away. Before the guard's sentence could even finish, it was cut off by the overbearing voice from above, who said, I want you to pass the order there. Then, the servant nervously asked, place the notice at the city wall. Naturally the guard would be shocked by this because it's akin to openly shaming the Bai house if the entire public can see it. But according to the usual doings of his lord and master, the servant here had no doubt things wouldn't be so easy. Sure enough, Bai Ji is impetuous and unruly. To teach her some etiquette that's expected of a girl, have her sent to the flower brothel so she can learn how to be a proper human. When the Bai house returns the dowry is when she can go back. Twitching in the corner of his mouth, the guard somehow had the odd sensation that the man before him was becoming more and more shameless after meeting the future sovereign princess. Send to the flower brothel because she doesn't know etiquette. Is the flower brothel the kind of place for that? If anything, it will turn the girl into a walking play toy for men. Chapter 156, I said I will wait for you. 1. Yes, my lord. Pressing down his shock, the guard respectfully complied. For the Bai house to provoke the master, only death awaits. Ellipsis. Meanwhile, back at the courtyard, a certain red blossoming figure was currently resting inside a pavilion when a heavy mass pressed in against hers. It was a little body. Soft and fragrant to her nose, Bai Yan had to open her resting eyes at the smell. Mother. Bai Xiakan's face burst into a bright smile with his baby hands hooked around the woman's neck. What were you thinking about? I was thinking about your grandchauffeurs. In this world, aside from Bai Xiao and the Lan family, her grandchauffeurs are the closest people she has while also being the ones she interacted with the most. But don't mother miss Godfather too? Puffing up those cheeks, Bai Xiakan was obviously not very happy. He misses Godfather so much, so why was his mother not missing him too? Smiling at the question, Bai Yan pulls the little steam bun into her arms and explained, I miss him too, but I owe your Godfather way too much. In this life, I can never repay him for everything that he's done for me. Chu Yifeng's style was the cold and indifferent type, but it's precisely such a cold and indifferent man that gave her everything that he owns. Sadly, towards the man, Bai Yan only has family affection and not love. While Bai Xiakan wanted to say a few good words for Chu Yifeng, a hurried footstep came from the outside and stopped him. Turning around at the source, Bai Yan's mouth quickly turned into a smile at the sight of the person. Huoluo, is Yi and Xiaoyun back already? Mistress, coming before Bai Yan, this head of the flower brothel replied with a smile of her own. Guess what sort of notice I saw at the city gate just now? What notice? Bai Yan pricked her brow and asked. Lord Kang has ordered, if Bai Zhengxiang wants to save Bai Ji, he must return your mother Lan Yu's dowry. When stating this part, the charming woman carefully observed her mistress, seemingly trying to find something in her attempt. Yet, Bai Yan's expression remains unmoved without a speck of change. I understand. Ah. Surprised in her eyes, Huoluo couldn't understand how Bai Yan could be so unmoved. Anyone can see that Lord Kang was doing this for her sake. Huoluo, you go down first. Once Yi returns, come back and tell me. Yes, mistress. Getting the dismissal, the charming woman didn't try to overstay herself and left. But once she was gone, Bai Yan's hand quickly tightened its grips around her son's body. Hey son, do you know why your father is doing this much for me? A complicated light could be seen in her eyes. I don't know, mother. Obediently leaning against her mother's body, those fluttering little eyes were sparkling like the dazzling stars in the night sky. Mother, I suddenly found that Big Baddie isn't all that hateful. Towards the remark from her son, Bai Yan only faintly smiled because she knew it too inside. If Dai Kang really wanted to get revenge for 6 years ago, he would have done so already. But he didn't do that. However, the reason why the man treats herself so special was all due to his personal preference of not finding her disgusting. Then there's also their son. In the end, he doesn't love me for who I am, so how can my heart be moved? Mother, are you not happy? Likely becoming aware of Bai Yan's change in emotion, the little steam bun quickly raised his adorable little face and snugged it against her cheek. If having a father will make mother unhappy, then I don't want a father. As long as I have mother, then that's enough. Chapter 157, I said I will wait for you too. And Bai Xiakan's little face was firm in his stance. When I grow old enough, I can also protect mother. Bai Yan was stuck in turmoil here. While confusion hangs over her heart, the person she didn't want to see the most just had to appear now, causing her pupils to shrink instantly. Baddie father. Following his mother's trajectory, the little steam bun couldn't resist jumping up on the spot after seeing Daikang's figure. Unlike before, Bai Xiakan was rather happy this time around. Baddie father. Going dark in the face, a gloom overtakes Daikang's expression. Who taught you to call me this way? You bullying mother is Baddie. Looking at the steaming look of the little guy, he carefully lifts the boy out of Bai Yan's arm and holds him up. Me bullying your mother is to give you a younger sister. Younger sister. At the word, Bai Xiakan's eyes lit up. Is it a cute little sister like my friend from next door? Even cuter than that. Divine in his smile, Daikang was quite pleased to learn of the baby boy's weakness. Maybe he can start from this angle and work his way in. Then I want 2 little sisters. Alright, forget 2. Even 10 is not a problem. 10. Bai Yan's face only got darker and darker. Does he take me for an animal too? And 10 on top that. You go out to play first. I need to make some more sisters with your mother here. The man's wording left the boy tied inside. First looking back at his mother, then at Daikang. You mustn't bully or bite her. Mother will be hurt if you do. He wrinkles his little brow as he says this. Okay, father promises you not to hurt your mother. You promised me so you cannot go back on your words. If you hurt her then I will never let you go. From his immature foxy eyes, a flash of reddish gleam emulated out of those irises, making the boy look exactly like his old man there for a second. Not getting angry in the least, Daikang was rather fond of this look and fondled the boy's head. As expected of my blood, so young and already taking after me. When you grow up I bet you will only be second to me in this world. Raising his chin, Bai Xiakan proudly proclaims, I will surpass you, also my mother and sister will be protected by me. Then I will wait for that day. Curving his lips into a smirk, Daikang was very pleased with the boy's attitude. Otherwise, how can he carry the weight of overseeing the demon realm in the future? While on the other end, Bai Yan was rather stunned. Now she finally understands where her son's narcissistic personality came from. Talk about like father like child. Mother. I'm going to find Wang Xiaopeng chubby to play now. Remember to give me a lot of baby sisters. In a pounce, Bai Xiakan directly gives his mother a big smooch on the face, causing Daikang's expression to go dark instantly. If the little boy hadn't ran away so quickly, he would no doubt toss the thing out immediately. Once left alone, Bai Yan then turns to the man himself. Gritting her teeth, are you really taking this as your home now, coming here twice in one day? That's not a bad idea at all. I can move here in the future. Daikang. I've sent Bai Ji to the flower brothel. Quote ellipsis dot dot quote. A bit stunned there, he sent Bai Ji to the flower brothel. The flower brothel is your territory. However you want to deal with her is up to your wishes now. Taking 2 steps forward, he slightly leans in towards the woman. This is my present to you. Do you like it? Looking at this extremely gorgeous face in such close proximity, Bai Yan's heart suddenly started pounding. I'm grateful for all you've done, but stuff like feelings, she subconsciously swings her head aside to avoid those eyes. I said I will wait for you. Chapter 158, Bai Zerichan is too cunning. I said I will wait for you Tilda. Closing her eyes with this sentence reverberating in the mind, Bai Yan was filled with turmoil, but I don't like you. No matter, you will sooner or later fall in love with me. The man's arrogance and self-conceited voice was more than enough to make her want to punch that face. She's seen a narcissist before, but never to this degree. How can he be so certain that I will fall in love with him? Ellipsis. At the same time not far away from the Kang Manor, a certain little head had just popped out of an alleyway. Little master, do you really want to do this? Little Rice's heart was trembling incessantly. Can I keep out of this? No. Patting the tiger cub's head, did you forget how that baddie bullied mother? Now Little Rice really wanted to cry, but that baddie is your father. What's more, you even gave him permission to make more sisters with your mother. Likely able to guess what's on his friend's mind, Xiakan quickly explains himself. That's just my excuse back there, otherwise how can I leave the mansion? And, pausing for a moment, you saw it too. I couldn't beat that baddie, nor can I allow him to keep harassing my mother. That's why I'm taking this risk. I thought you don't hate him as much. Aggrieved in his face, Little Rice protests. His young master here was Dai Kang's son, so nothing will happen even if he does something wrong, but that immunity didn't apply to Little Rice himself. Tied in his response, Xiakan was clearly swaying back and forth here. I don't hate him as much, that's true, but he is still bullying mother. I may want a sister, but if I had to choose between a sister or mother, I pick my mother. No matter what, anyone who bullies his mother are all baddies. But, Little Rice wanted to say more but found himself unable to when Xiakan suddenly covered his mouth. Don't say any more. We're starting now. In a sneaky manner, the boy slowly advanced towards the targeted estate. Unfortunately for him though, due to Xiakan's constant focus on his surroundings, he seems to have forgotten to look in front. Before he knew it, he had bumped face first into a stranger. While the baby boy only stumbled backwards a few steps, the victim here was rather unfortunate and directly took to the ground after losing her balance. The maiden who fell wanted to yell out at the one responsible, but when she saw it was Xiakan himself, that young delicate face immediately erupted with anger. It's you. Blinking in confusion, the little steam bun replied, Auntie, do you know me? Who are you calling auntie? The young girl roared as soon as she regained her composure. I'm an unmarried princess in her prime, how dare you call me auntie? Princess. She's a princess of the kingdom. Hurry and scram. The sixth princess was clearly enraged by the kid's attitude. She had never expected to encounter Bai Yan's child here today. Originally she only intended to sneak a peek before leaving because Dai Kang's terrifying aura had completely seeped into her bones. Auntie, I don't know how to scram. Why don't you show me how to do it first? Pink in the cheek, Xiakan's gaze was so innocent and true that none can find fault in them. Shut up. Seriously annoyed by the fact that the little thing would constantly call herself auntie, left and right, the princess couldn't take it anymore. If you call me auntie again, then watch me rip out that mouth of yours. Chapter 159, Take the Fall 1. Little Rice. Stroking the tiger cub's head, Xiakan was filled with innocence in his eyes as he spoke. Remember when mother told us not to talk with aunties in their menopause stage? She said their tempers are very erratic due to old age. I didn't believe it at first, but now I do. The princess didn't quite understand what menopause meant, but she did catch the old part very clearly. Did this little twerp just call me an old auntie? What are you all still waiting for? Sixth princess roared, hurry and catch this little bastard for me. Despite the command, the guards that came with her were all hesitant because it's no secret this little ancestor was Dai Kang's son. Where would they find the gals to touch him? Princess, one of the men slowly inched forward and shyly spoke. Lord Kang had openly recognized his status. If we nab him and the king learns of this, perhaps. How dare you? Snapping. The princess directly slaps the guard across the face and became all twisted in her expression. Don't forget who your master is. Fine. If none of you will move, then I will do it myself. Let's see if this thing will keep being presumptuous in front of me. If it was in the past, the sixth princess would never dare go against Dai Kang. But now, her heart has been filled with jealousy, thus causing her to lose all senses of reasoning. If anyone were to see those eyes in the girl, they might even mistake it as someone having their entire family killed. And here I was wondering how good Bai Yan's son was. Turns out it's nothing but a brat that doesn't know his manners. I really don't know why Lord Kang would allow a wild child like you to be his son. Pinching his lips to the side unhappily, Xiakan just knew it's his old man's fault. Auntie wants to marry my father. Giggling with a sinister light in his eyes, then I'm not wrong to call you auntie then. It can't be that you want me to call you sister now, do you? You. Slightly taken aback here, the princess somehow couldn't understand why the laugh from the little guy was so evil. It's almost like a little devil. In her momentary trance, Bai Xiakan had already came in front of the girl. With one stretch and one push, the baby boy had managed to force the princess back several steps. Nearly tipping over, the girl was infuriated and wanted to catch the twerp. "I'm going to kill you." But just as the princess was about to make contact, Bai Xiakan makes a strange maneuver and bypasses the girl's hand, leaving her stumbling over completely in front. With her hair a total mess, the girl was truly a crazed animal in her appearance now. Damn it. How can I, an Earth-rank martialist, lose to a brat that's barely weaned from her mother's milk? No. This won't do. I must teach this runt a lesson, or I can never hold up my face again. What is happening here? Who is making a ruckus outside? A fierce voice suddenly broke through the chaotic mess. As a pack of soldiers rushed out of the Kang Manor to investigate, the leading soldier immediately recognized the innocent boy and the raving princess. In that instant, the man almost couldn't comprehend the information. "Young Lord, sixth princess, what are you all doing here?" His master had already admitted Bai Xiakan's identity. Although the matter still hasn't been registered in the books yet, but it's pretty much set in stone. Chapter 160, Take the Fall 2. Therefore, his addressment of, "Young Lord," wasn't wrong here. "All of you grab this little thing for me." Red in her eyes, the sixth princess was very confused over why she missed. She's certain she had used her full speed there. "Princess, he is still a child." Struggling in their faces, the soldiers that just came out were all fully aware of the boy's status. What's more, Dai Kang had directly instructed them to put Bai Xiakan ahead of anyone, including royalty. If this situation continues and allowed the princess here to bully the little guy, the guards had no illusion their ending won't be any better than the bratty girl. "I don't care. All of you must get even for me." Giving a direct kick at one of the soldiers, she continued, "Don't forget, my father only tasked you people to watch over Lord Kang. In the end, my father the king is your true master." The soldier in question was already looking very ugly in his face to begin with, then to have his chest kicked so hard, his expression promptly turned ghastly. "Princess, you mustn't speak so carelessly. Since His Majesty had given us to Lord Kang, it's only proper that we protect the young lord in the critical moment." "All right, fine, then I will keep doing it myself then." Gritting her teeth, the princess then jerked her whip out. In one swing, she lashes out at the baby boy across from her. Fortunately though, just as the whip's about to land, Bai Xiakan suddenly raises a hand to scratch his head and narrowly escaped the trajectory due to the tilted angle of his body. The first time can still be a coincidence, then what about this time? A coincidence still. The soldiers from the Kang Manor were all scared silly by the princess's action. They can tell, if it had landed, the attack would have without a doubt left a scar on that cuddly face and forced the boy to become disfigured. If the Lord returns and finds out, we're finished. Six princess, we're sorry. Signaling his peers with a wink, the leading soldier led the way with the others quickly following suit in an encircling formation. "Uncle soldier." Just as the soldiers were about to start subduing the bratty princess, a soft and delicate voice chimed in from behind. A tad surprised, the man in question quickly turns around. Finding it was his young lord with the white kitty, he respectfully bowed and asked, "Is there something you need, young master?" This big auntie must be still young in her age, that's why she's so ignorant. "I don't want to make trouble, so you can let her go." By now a crowd of onlookers had already gathered outside the Kang Manor, wondering what the big commotion was. Therefore, when they heard Bai Xiakan's kind sentence, their eyes all turned into disgust and shot over to the princess. Young age? What young? This kid being bullied is but 5 years old. On the contrary, the sixth princess is already considered an adult. Yes, young master. The soldiers were honestly relieved to hear the order from the boy. They personally don't want to make a move against the princess either, but in order to keep Dai Kang from hammering down his fury, they had no choice but to go ahead. With the young lord's order, even if they do release the girl, it's not their fault anymore. Just you wait and see. Swiftly reorganizing her messy hair, the sixth princess sent one last glare at the baby boy before charging right through the crowd. With the instigator of the event gone, so did the onlookers. While the soldiers from the Kang Manor wanted to play escort with Bai Xiakan, they were firmly rejected and driven away by him. Don't joke around. If these soldiers were to tag around, what else can he do? Little master, say it, what are you planning again? After all the people were gone and out of sight, Little Rice asked inattentively while grooming his fur. If the boy wasn't planning something against the princess, there's no way she would have made it out of here unscathed. That's the sort of personality the baby tiger came to expect of the boy. Little Rice, look, I got this from the bad auntie. End of the chapter. Adorable treasured fox divine Dr. Mother Overturning the Heavens will be read in 10 chapters for every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday and Sunday. Please leave this sound novel and press subscribe, follow, and the bell so you don't miss any new clips as well. See you.